It's time for the Kurtiss Riggs Show. The head coach of the 9-time champion Sioux Falls Storm. The Kurtiss Riggs Show presented by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and Orthopedic Institute. Together, they are the official health care and complete training team of the Sioux Falls Storm. The Kurtiss Riggs Show on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN. Here's your host of the Kurtiss Riggs Show, the voice of the Storm, the Silver Fox, Rick Roste.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for making us a part of your day. This is the Kurtiss Riggs Show, and I'm Rich Roste, your host. Before we get too far into this, I want to send a very special happy birthday greeting out to the former host of Sports Talk, good friend of mine, great broadcaster, unbelievable career in broadcasting, Bob Laskowski, listening up in the...
It's time for the Kurtiss Riggs Show. The head coach of the 9-time champion Sioux Falls Storm. The Kurtiss Riggs Show presented by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and Orthopedic Institute. Together, they are the official health care and complete training team of the Sioux Falls Storm. The Kurtiss Riggs Show on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN. Here's your host of the Kurtiss Riggs Show, the voice of the Storm, the Silver Fox, Rick Roste.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for making us a part of your day. This is the Kurtiss Riggs Show, and I'm Rich Roste, your host. Before we get too far into this, I want to send a very special happy birthday greeting out to the former host of Sports Talk, good friend of mine, great broadcaster, unbelievable career in broadcasting, Bob Laskowski, listening up in the Twin Cities area. Happy birthday, Bob. What a great friend you are, and a great friend to so many people in the broadcasting industry. Coming up on the Kurtiss Riggs Show, we'll be talking to the head coach, Kurtiss Riggs, about the games around the IFL and the standings that are getting very interesting in the IFL. Also, we'll be talking about the Storm's 60-57 loss at Cedar Rapids this past weekend. We'll be talking about that. And then also on the show, we'll have running back Angelo Peace and linebacker Tyler Knight. Angelo was the IFL Offensive Player of the Week last week, and Tyler Knight is second in the IFL in average tackles per ball game with 11.6. Then later on the show, we'll be giving away 12 free tickets to the Storm's next home game. That's going to be on April 9th against Cedar Rapids, and that is the rubber match between these two ball clubs. Remember, this year, in the playoffs, there's 3 teams that will make it to the playoffs. The second and third place in each conference will play each other. Then the winner of the conference will get a bye, and then they'll play the winner of that first game. So that race is going to be very tight this year. And we'll talk about that with the head coach, Kurtiss Riggs, just after our second segment of the show. And then later on the show, we'll be giving away 12 free tickets to that game, and that's courtesy of Wingstop, and you'll be able to hear that game on our sister station, KELQ 107.9 FM. Then starting with the game on April 16th, when the Storm hosts the Wichita Falls Nighthawks, the broadcast will return to here, right here on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN. And he is the Director of Corporate Partnerships for the Sioux Falls Storm. Haven't had him on the show for a while, but with the home game coming up, I wanted to talk to Jim Loria. Jim, thanks for being on the Kurtiss Riggs Show.
Hi, Rich. How are you?
I'm doing great. Jim, there is so many things going on with this next game coming up on April 9th as the Storm takes on Cedar Rapids Titans in a huge, huge game for the Sioux Falls Storm. But there's a lot of things behind the scenes and also things publicly. Let's talk about some of those great events coming up for the Sioux Falls Storm.
Well, we've got, for moms and dads in the audience, we have a really cool Storm backpack. We're going to give away 1,000 of them, actually, to kids 12 and under. So it's actually designed into a football fabric type jersey backpack. So it's going to be a real cool thing, and In addition, I think you heard this before, Rich, from our education program we created. We're going to be installing into each backpack, there will be a storm coloring book
Yes.
an actual reading book for kids. And so there's 1,000 of them, and Waterbury Heating and Cooling and the Coleman Heating and Air Conditioning people made it all happen for us. And so we advise moms and dads are bringing the kids, come early, doors open at 6, because these will go very quickly.
Also at that game, we'll be having our second and after-game party. And tell us about that at Craven Bar and Grill.
Well, the Craven Bar and Grill folks have been with us. They'll be with us all season long, and every home game, as you know, we'll be there. And this is a special promotion, Rich. This one actually started right during the first home game. I got a phone call from the owner, Mark Fonder, and he wants to, at every home game, provide the fans 21 and older, if the Storm scores 55 or more points at any home game, you got to have your game ticket. Come to the Craven Bar and Grill, and the first beer from Budweiser is free.
Oh, my.
And this is at every home game. And as you recall, we had the missed field goal. and the owner was talking to me in his car as he's driving back to the bar, and we're at 54. And all of a sudden, we're just right there. That one missed extra kick, and he was like, no. But at every game, 55 points or more, you bring your game ticket to Craven after the game, and that first beer from any Budweiser product would be free. So that's something to be aware of. And so every game, I know you'll be there. Coach Riggs will have the interview after the game. The fans can kind of get that first hearsay of what happened at the game from the coach. And so that's a real nice feature at every game over at Craven. So we're looking forward to that.
Also, you have events coming up later on, and we'll be talking about them as the season progresses. But coming up on April 9th, get your tickets for that, because that's going to be the rubber match between the Sioux Falls Storm and the Cedar Rapids Titans. Each team has a loss. Each team has a victory over each other. And whoever wins this contest will have the upper hand as far as the playoffs are concerned. So get your tickets, because this one is going to be a dandy. Also, you had a great night out to Eastway Bowl for the viewing party. Tell us about that.
Well, we've had the crowds have been going great. As you know, the Gage team's been working with us on providing a special streaming of the games, and so when people are at the Eastway Lounge, they're seeing the games free of charge. That we're running specials from Budweiser at the lounge. Actually, for those who were bowling at the last game, the Storm game was actually streamed right onto your screen at the bowling lane.
Oh, my.
And so it's done very well, Rich, and the crowd loves it. It's a great time. We appreciate what you do for it. I know you do a lot of the behind-the-scenes work for us all, but the fans get a chance to hear you live, and all the screens are showing the Storm game, and the bowling alley showing the same thing. So it's quite a cool scene to be at.
Anything else that you want to promote right now, Jim?
Well, one of the things we're going to do, Rich, it's coming up here. We have a blood drive. This is always very important for the community. It's our first blood drive here with the Community Blood Bank. It's going to be May 10th. And I reached out today through social media. We're actually asking Storm fans if they'd like to help name the event, give it a title. What would we call this Storm Blood Drive? So if anybody out there has got a creative promotional mind and would like to submit a name, if they could send it to me. You can reach me through Facebook. My email is jim@SiouxFallsStorm.com. We're going to give away a signed team game football from the club and 4 tickets to the April 9th game to the person who helps us name our blood drive. It's May 10th. It's something that we can talk more about as we get closer to the day.
Well, Jim Laurie, I really appreciate you being on the Kurtiss Riggs Show. A lot of exciting things coming up for the Sioux Falls Storm. We really appreciate everything that you've done within the community, also with the Sioux Falls Storm. Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome, Rich. Thank you.
Jim Laurie, he is the Director of Corporate Partnerships with the Sioux Falls Storm. And you're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show. And if you don't get a chance to listen to the whole thing, go to the Storm website tomorrow, Boyer Trucks. is our sponsor for the podcast, and you can see the Kurtiss Riggs Show. We videotape it, incorporate the highlights and all of those things put together, and it's been a great addition, and Matt Gage has done a fantastic job with the Gage team putting together the graphics and everything for that, so you can actually watch the show, and it's an archive, so you can go back and watch it at any time. Coming up next, we'll be talking to the head coach, Kurtiss Riggs, about the IFL and the games going on, the standings, all that kind of stuff. Coming up next, and you're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show, brought to you by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and also Orthopedic Institute right here on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN.
Storm Nation.
Think rugged. When you think tough. When you think big. Think of the best transportation solutions mile after mile. When you think big, think Boyer trucks. Redefining the road.
What's the smart way to refresh your home? Get inspired by Granite Transformations. See how easy it is to transform your kitchen or bathroom with gorgeous quartz and granite backed by our lifetime warranty. Plus custom cabinet refacing, all without the mess of a traditional renovation. Explore the exciting possibilities at the New Look, New Style celebration happening now at Granite Transformations.
Your body. A remarkable network of bone, tissue, and joints working in perfect harmony. But when injuries occur, that process can be interrupted. At Orthopedic Institute, orthopedic medicine is all we do. We work to get you up and moving again, recreating that perfect harmony, whatever that may be for you. Orthopedic Institute, we're the one to trust to keep your body in motion.
Specialty Hospital and Orthopedic Institute on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN. Back to your host, Rich Roste.
And our opening interview with the Storm head coach, Kurtiss Riggs, is brought to you by the great folks over at Good Sense Deli, fresh subs. They have the best bread in town, and it's Tim, not Tom. He is the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtiss Riggs. Coach, interesting week with the IFL, and things are getting pretty interesting as far as the standings are concerned. We'll jump right in it. Wichita Falls defeated Nebraska 64-55. That was at Nebraska. Tell us about that game, what you know about it.
Well, it was one where Nebraska seemed to be battling back the whole time. And every time they would kind of get somewhat close, Wichita Falls was able to make plays and pull away. You could tell Nebraska, quite a different roster. You know, they still have Jamal Sewell, who will always keep you in a game. But defensively especially, it seemed like Coach Davis, hearing his comments after the game, was very frustrated about mistakes they were making on the defensive side of the football.
You know, this is one thing that you and I talked about on the trip down to Cedar Rapids this past week, about there's some of the teams that there is a tremendous turnover of personnel and players. And Cedar Rapids is a team that had very little. Sioux Falls has had very little. But the teams that have had that tremendous amount of turnover, how do you coach that and be able to unify a team when you have the changes so often?
Well, I mean, you have to hope for good leadership. And you got to hope that the guys you bring in are willing to buy into a team system rather than just glorify themselves. And that's why sometimes it's really a challenge because they don't get a chance to go through camp and get a grasp of really what your organization's all about. It's very, people don't realize it's, like Melvin for us the other night. I mean, he really had one practice, and so that's the norm, though, at this point in the season now. From here on out, you're going to get guys that are, because you can't have, I mean, you have 25 guys, that's it. you can't have other guys outside those 25 that are just waiting to come in, and so you get a limited time. And it's the same with the continuity of the team. A limited time for them to buy into that also.
And we were talking about Melvin. That's Melvin German, a new wide receiver, backup quarterback for the Sioux Falls Storm, and he is a big, strong-looking athlete, isn't he?
He is, yeah, and I think Melvin will do some good things for us. I think he'll definitely help us, and hopefully we can get him more acclimated, more comfortable with what we're doing. Other
than the Storm game, the other one was Billings hosting Iowa Barnstormers, and the Barnstormers came up with a win 38-27. And tell us about that ball game.
I watched just a little bit of it yesterday, and it seemed like Billings, they had a different quarterback playing, and he looked like it was his first indoor football game.
Oh, yeah.
At times he made some plays, but a lot of times he's really late on his throws. I was very aggressive. I mean, they have some guys that just fly around, and sometimes they're way out of position, but a lot of times they're going in the right direction, and when they get to their spot, they let you know, and they made some plays for the Barnstormers.
Sioux Falls Storm are in the United Conference, and things are really tight there. The Storm are 4-1 after their loss this past weekend to Cedar Rapids, 60-57. And then the next three teams all have 3 wins. Wichita Falls and Iowa Barnstormers 3-1, and Cedar Rapids 3-2. And there's only 3 teams that make the playoffs, and it's going to be a very interesting spring and summer watching how this progresses, won't it, Coach?
It will. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty unbelievable that it was pointed out to me, and then also as I went to the store or was out in public, how it's the end of the storm has come. It's the worst team we've had in 10 years, and I mean it's all over for us. We're not even halfway through the season, and yet we had a chance to win that game against a very good opponent at a very difficult place to play, and now the season's over. So I mean we're not even halfway through the season yet, though, but I think the thing that's fun though, Rich, is that there is this situation.
Right.
There is this competitive battle going on in both divisions. I think teams have gotten better, and some of the teams that were always on top, us in Nebraska especially, have made quite a few roster changes, and maybe have neutralized us a little bit too, to allow other teams to have a good shot at us.
We're going to be talking about that in a little bit more detail in the next segment when we talk to the Storm head coach Kurtiss Riggs on the Kurtiss Riggs Show. But we'll address that at that particular time. But then in the Intense Conference, things are tight over there too with the top 3 teams. The Spokane 2-1, Nebraska 3-2, and the Billings Wolves 2-3. And again, only 3 teams make it. Tri-Cities 1-3 right now, and Colorado 0-4. We have not even played a third of the season. This thing could totally flip-flop over the course of the next 10 weeks or so.
Yeah, it easily could, Rich. I mean, you could see, some of these teams, a lot of the teams have been, it's been very buy-heavy at the beginning of the season. Like Spokane now has used, all their buys are done, and they will play every game. We have to go after this week 10 or 11 straight, and there's other teams in similar situations, and that's where I think you'll really see a separation, because you're going to see teams that get hot, and you're going to see teams that have key injuries that are really tough to overcome. And so there will be teams that pull away, and then there will be teams that hang around, and those will probably be the scariest ones.
Coming up this weekend, Colorado's at Tri-Cities, Iowa's at Spokane, both of those games on Friday. Then on Saturday, Billings is going down to Nebraska, Green Bay. It will be at Cedar Rapids, and the Storm and Wichita Falls both have byes. Coming up next, Coach, we'll be talking about that game down in Cedar Rapids as the Kurtiss Riggs Show continues. And this segment brought to you by the great folks over at Good Sense Deli, fresh subs, the best bread in town. And you're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show right here on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN.
Network of bone, tissue, and joints working in perfect harmony. But when injuries occur, that process can be interrupted. At Orthopedic Institute, orthopedic medicine is all we do. We work to get you up and moving again, recreating that perfect harmony, whatever that may be for you. Orthopedic Institute, we're the one to trust to keep your body in motion.
People that I work with are family. We get more time with the patients to deliver that personalized care.
I know that our patients are satisfied and happy with their outcomes.
And I've had more than one patient say to me, you know, I can really feel that you guys like being here and taking care of patients. And that's wonderful to hear, because that's the truth.
We give the best care in the world.
And just a better overall experience for the patient.
And that's why I chose to come work here at Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital.
Breathe easier when you have your ducts cleaned by Waterbury. Call us today. Save on your energy bill with the new furnace from Waterbury. Call for your free estimates.
You're not just disseminating facts. You're not just telling people what happened, but you're having to deal with the people it happened to.
We want to capture the effect. Why is it so important? Why is this happening?
Everything has an effect and everything has an impact. It's more than just providing headlines. It's the idea of this has happened and this is why you should care.
It's the driver of how we do news, because we want people to know that we care.
TV, I'm meteorologist Phil Schreck.
You're listening to The Kurtiss Riggs Show, presented by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and Orthopedic Institute on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN. Back to your host, Rich Roste.
And the Kurtiss Riggs Weekly Game Recap is brought to you by our Storm away game viewing party host, Eastway Bowl and Eastway Lounge. And the next viewing party is going to be on April 23rd as the Storm travels to Grand Island, Nebraska to face the Nebraska Danger. He is the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtiss Riggs. And, you know, Coach, you also have a blog that you put on, or an article that you write for the Argus Leader. And one of the things that you had talked about in a previous article that you'd written as far as about losing, and losing professionally, or losing with grace, or losing well. And now the Sioux Falls Storm has won, and you had alluded to it at the beginning, you know, that a lot of people are just thinking the sky is falling in, and that is absolutely not the case, isn't it?
Well, not at all. You know, it is an expectation that we have, that every time we step on the field, it's to win the game.
Uh-huh.
And by no means, you know, are we trying to do anything different, but losing is a part of competition, and that's not going to decide the fate of our season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not going to go undefeated every year. You know, Tyler Knight spoke after the game about, you know, hey, last time we lost to these guys badly in a very embarrassing loss. I think we lost 4 or 5 games that year,
mm-hmm.
and we won the championship. And you know, he really alluded to the mistakes we made. We got better each time, and so a loss can be very good too, because it can wake you up and let you see that, hey, there's weaknesses you have, and they're being exposed, and some of them are self-inflicted. And I think, you know, you probably wouldn't be surprised, Rich, watching us this year, that, I mean, we were in a battle every game, and it seemed like it was going to happen sooner or later, that someone was going to get the best of us. And as many mistakes as we made in that game, we still had a chance to win at the end, or at least tie it and go into overtime, and we just couldn't execute and get that done.
It was 2013. The Storm lost 4 road games: Nebraska, Colorado, Chicago, and Cedar Rapids. And the Storm still won the championship that year. And one of the things that we had, also mentioned about after the game, there's some of the players on the team that have never lost in a Storm uniform. And it is a learning process. And I think a lot of the fans also are at a part of that point, too, that you have to learn that this is going to happen. And it's because the league is getting better, not because the Storm has fallen off the side of the earth.
I think the league's getting, I wouldn't say Cedar Rapids is better. I think they're always good, and they're always a good team. But the one thing you can say with us, you look and we lose our nose guard, probably one of the best ever. I would say he's the best nose guard to ever play indoor football. I know I tried to replace him numerous years and could never do it, and he's an impact player. You have another defensive end get signed by the Indianapolis Colts. He must be pretty good. You lose your slot receiver that was kind of the main catalyst of our offense last year. You lose your all-time greatest receiver. So you lose key guys and you put new guys in, and it takes a little while for everyone to figure out, hey, this is what we do well and this is what we're not so good at. And those are some of the things that we're having to get through. And you've seen those things in these games. And what's hard for our fans is they're so used to seeing anybody, at that nose guard position dominating and getting pressure. And we're not getting that right now, and we have to find a way that's going to fit Sam and Kevin's style and try to utilize their strengths.
And not only that, Kyle Wiebesek is no longer on this traveling with us with the trainers of Orthopedic Institute, and that takes a big hold, too.
Well, it was pointed out to Frank that one of the players were like, geez, I wondered how long could that internship continue to go. Or mentoring program, but yeah, it is odd though not having Kyle around. It is. I know he gets along very well with the players and the coaching staff, and so yeah, we do miss him.
We're going to run some highlights, and we'll jump right in with all of the heavy action right with this first highlight. Going to try to pick up some stats for you as far as this game is concerned. Lorenzo Brown, 2 of 3 in passing, total of 13 yards, 1 passing touchdown. Waiting for the screen to refresh as far as getting the stats for the Titans. It's going about as fast as I run. I just threw that one in.
You had all kinds of things going on this night, Rich.
Yeah, I did. Things were going good. Here's our next highlight. So now with 4th down and very long, here comes the kicking unit onto the field for the Sioux Falls Storm. The long kick this year for Justin Saravatka has been the 50-yarder. This will be about a 47-yarder, and he kicked a 46 out in Colorado. He puts this one up very high, very long, and perfect from here. Waiting for the indication, and it is good. And Justin Saravatka just connected on his 6th field goal of the season. And Justin Saravatka is leading the IFL in field goals, actually 8 of 10. And the long kick of the year of 50 yards. And he has a point-after percentage of 75.8%, which is 6th in the IFL. And I just wanted to point that out, that Justin has had some very good things happen during this course of this year for the Storm.
And the biggest problem is we've actually been the ones hurting him. We don't give him as many opportunities to kick. I feel like offensively we can usually take advantage of 4th downs. And then the snapping lows, I think we've had 5 or 6 now on the year, not where Justin doesn't even get a chance to kick either extra points or field goals. And people that saw the game know that obviously cost us or was a huge deciding factor in the game.
And unfortunately for him, that counts as a missed field goal or a missed point after touchdown, even though he didn't actually have a chance to kick it. And that's one of the problems with that particular stat. Here's our next highlight. Now Belcher puts a low driving bounding kick, takes a big bounce. Williams from the 3 to the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 20, 50. He's got the corner. Can he get all the way into the end zone? Yeah! pass, touchdown, Corey Williams. Holy help me, Hannah. Corey Williams with his third kick return for a touchdown this season. Corey Williams, great kick returner. That's the fourth kick return for the Storm this year. Special teams, hugely important, but Corey Williams coming back to the Storm has really brought with him a lot of leadership and a lot of great football ability.
Well, there's definitely no doubt about those two things. Corey had a great game and was really able to take advantage of certain opportunities and turn them into big plays for us, and we needed that. Especially that second half, we were struggling to get the ball in the end zone and what to call, and it seemed like we could rely on getting the ball in Corey's hands and him doing something with it.
Let's go to our next highlight. Back to pass, Lorenzo Brown with time, fires upfield. All by himself is Corey Williams, and he goes into the end zone. Touchdown. Great read by Lorenzo Brown. Corey Williams was wide open at about the 5 and hit him. Williams turns into the end zone. Touchdown, Sioux Falls Storm. And that was just a play of beauty. The way it was all done, everything was orchestrated so well. The setup, the men in motion, the offensive line, the pass. It was a perfect play, in my opinion, and it was a good time for that one also.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think it was the first play Melvin came in too, and so we were like, Melvin, just go across and fake, and Mike will take the safeties out and get Corey open here, and so yeah, he found them quick, and it really helped us stay in the game at that point.
And here's our next highlight, and it's probably one of the worst calls I've ever done. Motion on both sides, back to pass, looking left all the way. He's in trouble. He's going down, and it's a safety. The Sioux Falls Storm defense gets a safety, and it's Claude Davis. And either that or Sam Campbell, I'm not sure. Yes, Sam Campbell gets the sack, and actually it was a fumble in the end zone. A fumble. Campbell got the recovery of the football, and it's a touchdown. Boy, I missed that one. Here's a bad snap. Servatka's going to just eat it and drop down. And folks, I totally missed that. It was probably one of the worst calls I've ever done.
You never had a chance for a Holy Help Me Hannah in there, did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it was confusing about if it was a safety or a touchdown. And then it was like you just saw Sam come up with the football, and they gave us the touchdown on it.
I looked up, and I saw Hermie put his hands together for a safety, and I started to write things down, and I looked up, and you guys were doing a point after touchdown. I thought, what twilight zone was I in? I have no... Well, maybe this was the reason, the next highlight, why I was kind of goofy on that particular call. Now coming through the box is Thomas. They fake the handoff. Coming right at us. Oh, the ball hit me in the legs. Well, that was scary up here in press row. We're dodging bullets up here, no doubt about it. But it was coming right at us. Went through underneath the table. I wasn't going to go down for it. Incomplete pass. but that's our last highlight. I didn't even get to keep the football.
The best part of that, Ray, well, you're very close to the field there.
Oh, my,
It
yeah.
kind of reminded me like back in the Lincoln, when we would play down there in Lincoln at the auditorium, and you're sitting on that stage right by the field. But the best is if fans could see that clip, and when the ball is coming and it hits you in the legs, you're raising your hands like you're going to catch the ball.
That's why I was a lineman. Yeah, you reminded me of that game down in Lincoln. We're talking to Storm head coach Kurtiss Riggs on the Kurtiss Riggs Show, and we're down in Lincoln doing a ball game, and there was a stage there. It's probably about 3-4 feet maybe above the playing surface, and I thought, well, I'll just jump over the side wall and just jump down there because I had to get somewhere. And I fall. I trip over the dashboard pad, and it rolls, and I rolls, and I'm on the ground, and there's a lady screaming over there, "Oh, my goodness, there's an old guy that just fell off the stage." I'll never forget. I jumped up and walked off, kind of like a cat when it lands on its feet, just kind of wander off and like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, well, if they only knew your background and what a skilled athlete,
A long time ago. Well, Coach, I brought some humor into this because I think we need to take away some of the seriousness. This is a game. This is football. Things like this are going to happen. What you do after it is the key, not necessarily what happened in the past.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree. There probably was no one more upset than me after the game, but it's still part of competition. And, the reason I'm upset, I'm sure, was a lot different than why other people are upset. They're probably upset because we lost, and I'm upset because of the mistakes we're making and the people that are making them. It shouldn't be happening. And so we've got to do a better job coaching. And, hey, I mean, Rich, we're going to have more really tough physical games. In fact, next time we play Cedar Rapids, it's going to come down to, both teams go in and who wins in the trenches. And they won in the trenches that night. They did a better job on the offensive, defensive line. And so we'll see if we can win that and hopefully put ourselves in a position to win probably another close football game.
And we won't be talking about this weekend. The Storm has a bye this weekend. And next week we'll preview again the Cedar Rapids Titans. But the one point to bring out is that with the playoff system, there's a three-game matchup with the Cedar Rapids Titans this season. And this will be the rubber match as far as any post-game standings are concerned, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure it would be that head-to-head, how they would look at that. It's really a weird deal because, teams in the divisions don't play each other an equal amount of times. And, so it's really unusual because Coach Stout and I were talking about that before the game about, the scheduling and how things work out and how we still try to do our divisions. And but you know what? It's part of indoor football. And we just have to go out and worry about us. And if we can do that, I think we'll be okay in the long run.
Well, very good, Coach. Best to you on your weekend off, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday on the Kurtiss Riggs Show again, right?
All right. Thank you, Rich.
He is the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtiss Riggs, and this segment brought to you by Eastway Bowl and Eastway Lounge, the official viewing party location. The next game to watch out there is April 23rd as the Storm travels to Grand Island, Nebraska. Coming up next, Angelo Peace running back with the Sioux Falls Storm as the Kurtiss Riggs Show continues right here on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN.
Eastway Bowl is more than just bowling. It's a full experience entertainment center. Like us on Facebook and visit our website to learn more about the full experience at Eastway Bowl.
When you think rugged, when you think tough, when you think big, think of the best transportation solutions mile after mile. When you think big, think Boyer Trucks. Redefining the road.
You're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show, presented by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and Orthopedic Institute on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN. Back to your host, Rich Roste.
And this segment brought to you by Wingstop of Sioux Falls. More than a meal, it's a flavor experience. And after the interview, we'll take the third caller at 336-1230 for 4 free tickets to the game on April 9th at the Denny Sanford Premier Center as the Storm takes on the Cedar Rapids Titans. And joining us via the fan line, he is a running back with the Sioux Falls Storm, his first year with the Sioux Falls Storm, Angelo Peace. AP, how you doing, buddy?
I'm actually great right now, and been about to enjoy the bye week and get ready for Cedar Rapids April 9th.
There's an old saying in sports that you celebrate a victory for 24 hours and you celebrate and actually mourn a loss for only a couple hours, but it's a lot tougher to do than it is than the saying goes, isn't it?
Right, it's a lot tougher, man. I mean, everybody. I don't know no athlete that likes to lose, so it's very tough, to wait. And you got the bye week coming up, so you can't redeem yourself until a whole extra week. So it's very tough, especially on me. Speaking for myself.
Well, let's talk a little bit about you. Where did you go to college?
I went to college at Kansas State University.
Oh my! And tell us a little bit about your career down there at K-State.
Man, I played for, I think, one of the greatest coaches ever to do it, Coach Bill Snyder. I mean, he's a great coach. I went 2 years at JUCO at Hudson Community College. It's in Kansas, and I transferred to K-State in 2011, 2012. Played running back there, And I actually didn't really get the, actually playing time, and everything didn't work out how I had planned. I had injury problems I had to overcome, and I wound up having an okay career, but it still helped me out in the long run.
Well, I tell you what, when you play for Coach Snyder, I mean, just being able to say that and what he taught you, not only on the football field, but as a person, that's something you're going to carry with you the rest of your life, aren't you?
Right, Coach Snyder, that would make him a great coach. He's not only a coach on the field, he also what he teaches you. You carry on with life, like life after football, job-wise, raising kids-wise, like everything teaches you can put with anything in life, and it helps better your life. That would make him so great. He's like a father figure on the field.
Talking to Angelo Peace, running back with the Sioux Falls Storm, right here on the Kurtiss Riggs Show. Well, congratulations to you. You were named the Offensive Player of the Week last week for everything that you did out in Colorado. And tell us what it's been like for you transitioning from playing football at K-State and now playing indoor football. How has that transition been for you?
I mean, when I first got to Sioux Falls, I mean, my first practice there, I mean, it was like, oh wow, like, man, like it was like, oh, can I really do this? I had questioned myself at first, but after practice, I got used to it, and I still hadn't got to my full potential yet. But after each practice, after each game, I'm getting better and better, and I got some great teammates and great coaches around me to help me each and every day. We practice and have games, so eventually I'll be at my top potential.
One thing about it, when you come into the indoor football, there's not a lot of room to dip and dive and jig and jag and things like that. It's more straightforward running the football rather than on a big open field like you had down in K-State.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest adjustments I had to make. At K-State, the field like 50, I think, if I'm not mistaken, like 53 yards wide, and indoor field not that wide. So Coach Riggs, he preached to me when I first got there, no dancing, one cut downhill back. So I mean, yeah, actually it helps me. It helps me when I go back to the regular football field. It helps me with my vision and my moves. Cause I'm so used to everything being so close as in the indoor field. It helps me on my vision and stuff. So I mean, it's helpful in a way.
A lot of players have said that because it actually accelerates your game. The game, it plays so much faster. And once you get to the point where the game starts to slow down for you, that you are the aggressor, that's when you have the success. And a lot of players that have moved on from the indoor football game back into like the Canadian Football League, the experience in the indoor league has really been beneficial, and you could attest to that, couldn't you?
Right, it is very beneficial to me. Cause once you like the indoor, like you said, the indoor football is very fast. I actually think it's like I play in the NFL. I actually think it's faster in the NFL, like how fast the ball get out and how fast everything happens. So once that game started to slow down to me, the IFL, which I'm talking about, when it started to slow down to me, that'll make the outdoor football way more easier than me.
Well, I tell you what, AP, it's great having you on the Kurtiss Riggs Show. You've made a huge impact with the Sioux Falls Storm just in these last 5 ball games, and I'm looking forward to a lot of things from you this entire season.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to a great season. You got more to come from me. I'm ready. I just got to tell Coach Riggs I'm throwing a joke. To give me at least 20+ carries a game. It was a joke. I was just playing.
There you go. I tell you what, thank you very much, AP. We'll talk to you next week, okay?
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. That's Angelo Peace, running back with the Sioux Falls Storm. What a great player and a great addition for the Sioux Falls Storm. When we come back, we'll be talking to a longtime veteran with the Sioux Falls Storm and the second leading tackler on an average per game basis, linebacker Tyler Knight. And when we go to break, we'll take your third caller at 336-1230, 336-1230 for 4 free tickets to that Cedar Rapids game coming up on April 9th. And you're listening to The Kurtiss Riggs Show right here on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN.
The Sheridan Sioux Falls is proud to...
Think rugged. When you think tough. When you think big. Think of the best transportation solutions, mile after mile. When you think big, think Boyer trucks. Redefining the road.
Institute on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN. Back to your host, Rick Roste.
And welcome back to the Kurtiss Riggs Show. This segment brought to you again by Wingstop of Sioux Falls. More than a meal, it's a flavor experience. And after our interview with Tyler Knight, we'll have take the third caller at 336-1230 for 4 free tickets to the Cedar Rapids game on April 9th at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. He is one of the most outstanding linebackers in the history of the IFL, Tyler Knight. Tyler, thanks for being on the Kurtiss Riggs Show this afternoon.
Thanks for having me, Rich. It's always a pleasure to be on the show.
Well, I tell you what, you've been with the Storm how many years now?
This is my 5th season.
5th season. And there was a point in time when you were wondering if the time had come to end your career, but you came back. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, as you get older, it becomes more that you have to do to prepare yourself. I don't think it was ever a question about the gift of being able to play the game. I think it was more just making sure that if I did come back and play, could I, give my best effort, for the team and be that person that they wanted me to be. And, in the end, I felt that I could still, play at a high level. And I knew the work ethic wouldn't change as far as things that I knew I would need to do to be able to play at the level that I want to play at. And Coach asked me to come back, and without a question, I wanted to come back and be around the guys.
One thing about it, to me, it seems like you've come back with a different purpose, an intensity that you didn't even have before. And I think that's when an athlete realizes that a career is finite. It only lasts so long, but now you've been kind of given a reprieve and being able to extend it. And that makes playing even more important, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, and we all, at some point in your career, you have different things that you have a motivation for playing for and different things that get you going. And now it's to the point now I know I've kind of reached the peak of my career. And I know it's kind of, getting ready to plateau. And my motivation now is different from when I was younger. Well, now it's just to be able to play the game just for the actual love and being around the guys. I mean, because I know in the end of the day, I probably want, my goal isn't as when I came in at 25 and to now being 31. It isn't to, get to the next level or anything like that. My purpose now is to, just play because I love the game, and then to see the guys that were started at the time that when I started at that age, so where they go, it'll still get to that next level. To help them with things that I've seen over the years, guys that I've seen go on, and better ways to help them improve their game. And overall, most important part is just to win.
Talking with Tyler Knight, linebacker with the Sioux Falls Storm, on the Kurtiss Riggs Show. Well, Tyler, right now you're second in the IFL, averaging 11.8 tackles a ball game. You've had 47 tackles on the year, 3 tackles for loss, a sack and a half, a couple broken passes, and a block kick. You seem to be playing at a pretty high level, even at 31.
Yeah, I credit the coaches. Especially Coach Hermanson. Every week, he's not harping on the things that I do well. He's harping on the things that I can do better. And for me, that a person that accepts challenges and accepts critique it motivates me to get better every week when he comes in and he challenges me every week. And that's the kind of relationship, the love that we have for each other, is the ability to, for him to push me and for him to understand that I love to critique. And he always does push me to, give my maximum effort and push me to get better. So it's more of a thing to where it's not necessarily, I don't think it's me or ever been me. It's just always been the scheme and the guys that I've been around that has allowed me to, be the athlete that I want to be.
Well, Tyler, you have made a tremendous contribution to the Sioux Falls Storm. You've been a part of so many different championships, and you're still playing at that high level and your intensity, but also that your personality on the bus when we travel. There's not too many guys that can travel with Superman.
Yeah, I love my Superman stuff. It has to travel. Everything has to travel each week, and then too. But I just love to have fun, man. Anybody knows me, knows my personality. It's all about having fun. Any way I can get a laugh or crack a joke, it's gonna happen.
Well, Tyler, thanks again for being on the Kurtiss Riggs Show. You bring a smile to my face. I know that. Take care, my friend.
No problem. Thank you, Rich, and thanks for having me on. You have a great day.
Tyler Knight, linebacker with the Sioux Falls Storm. When we go to break, we'll take your third caller at 336-1230, 336-1230 for 4 free tickets to the game coming up on April 9th. You're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show right here on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 12. SN.
If you haven't been to Eastway Sports Lounge and Grill lately...
What's the smart way to refresh your home? Get inspired by Granite Transformations. See how easy it is to transform your kitchen or bathroom with gorgeous quartz and granite backed by our lifetime warranty. Plus custom cabinet refacing, all without the mess of a traditional renovation. Explore the exciting possibilities at the New Look, New Style celebration happening now at Granite Transformations. Schedule your free in-home design consultation today.
You're not just disseminating facts. You're not just telling people what happened, but you're having to deal with the people it happened to.
We want to capture the effect. Why is it so important? Why is this happening?
Everything has an effect and everything has an impact. It's more than just providing headlines. It's the idea of this has happened and this is why you should care.
It's the driver of how we do news, because we want people to know that we care.
Your body, a remarkable network of bone, tissue, and joints working in perfect harmony. But when injuries occur, that process can be interrupted. At Orthopedic Institute, orthopedic medicine is all we do. We work to get you up and moving again, recreating that perfect harmony, whatever that may be for you. Orthopedic Institute, we're the one to trust to keep your body in motion.
People that I work with are family. We get more time with the patients to deliver that personalized care.
I know that our patients are satisfied and happy with their outcomes.
And I've had more than one patient say to me, I can really feel that you guys like being here and taking care of patients. And that's wonderful to hear, because that's the truth.
We give the best care in the world.
And just a better overall experience for the patient.
And that's why I chose to come work here at Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital.
Breathe easier when you have your ducts cleaned by Waterbury. Call us today. Save on your energy bill with the new furnace from Waterbury. Call for your free estimates.
You're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show, presented by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and Orthopedic Institute on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230. KWSN. Back to your host, Rich Roste.
And this segment brought to you by our good friends at Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs. The freshest subs in town, the best bread in town. Just check the things over with Tim. He'll take very good care of you. Whatever you need, a lot of them, not many of them, whatever, he'll take care of you. That's Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs. Great sponsors of the Sioux Falls Storm. And it's Tim, not Tom. Been a fun afternoon with the Kurtiss Riggs Show. Coming up at 6:30, we're going to have NIT basketball coming at you right here on KWSN. So we're going to take our final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. And then at 6:30, we got basketball coming at you. But you're listening to this segment brought to you by Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs right here on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN.
When people think of Uncle Ed's Specialty Meats, what comes to mind?
Eastway Bowl is more than just bowling. It's a full experience entertainment center. Like us on Facebook and visit our website to learn more about the full experience at Eastway Bowl.
When you think rugged, when you think tough, when you think big, think of the best transportation solutions mile after mile. When you think big, think Boyer Trucks. Redefining the road.
You're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show, presented by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and Orthopedic Institute on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN. Back to your host, Rich Roste.
And welcome back for our final segment of the Kurtiss Riggs Show. And this segment brought to you by Wingstop of Sioux Falls. More than a meal, it's a flavor experience. And after we go off the air, we'll take your third caller at 336-1230 for 4 free tickets to that April 9th game against the Cedar Rapids Titans. And, talking with the Storm head coach, Kurtiss Riggs, and the positive things we talked about and things. The Sioux Falls Storm are alive and well, and so is the IFL. And from here on out, things are going to be very interesting. Every game is going to be a contest. Every game is going to be challenged. Every game is going to be interesting, and not every game is going to be won. And that's the way things go in sports. The Storm has had this tremendous ride, 53-game winning streak at home. That may come to an end at some point in time. But at this point, Sioux Falls Storm doing everything they can to win those ball games, and fans, come on out and watch it because it's going to be quite a ride the rest of this season. I want to thank our guests, Jim Loria, also AP Angelo Peace, and Tyler Knight for being on the show today. It was great visiting with all of them. Again, the next game coming up on April 9th. This week is a bye. That's why we didn't have a game preview with the head coach. A bye this week. But next week, 6:45 on Saturday on our sister station, KELQ 107.9 FM. We'll have the broadcast for you. I want to thank also John Michaels, our KWSN studio producer and engineer.
Now tapped all the way back out again, and it's going to be covered by Valpo. Carter fires to Peters. Cross-court pass and a beauty, driving late.